Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe, forward into battle, see his banners go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Oh, for a faith that will not shrink, though pressed by every foe, that will not tremble on the brink of any earthly woe, that will not murmur or complain beneath a chastening rod, but in the hour of grief or pain will lean upon its God. A faith that shines more bright and clear when tempests rage without, that when in danger knows no fear, in darkness feels no doubt. Lord, give us such a faith as this, and then whatever may come, we'll taste and hear the hallowed bliss of an eternal home. A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my Master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die. Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser things. Give heart and mind and soul and strength to serve the King of Kings. Rise up, O men of God, his kingdom tarries long. Bring in the day of brotherhood and end the night of wrong. Rise up, O men of God, the church for you doth wait. Her strength unequal to her task, rise up and make her great. Lift high the cross of Christ, tread where his feet have trod. As brothers of the Son of Man, rise up, O men of God.
We should be switching here almost directly, shouldn't we?
Yep, we'll switch. Good evening.
Let's edify one another.
So we solved it. How about that, Levi? We are so good.
You
We
forgot your intro.
and for the sake of professionals and shenanigans. How about that, Levi? We're so good. We solved that problem before we came in. That was awesome.
Did we meet ourselves coming and going?
uh,
We solved it before we came. How did we do that?
I
Didn't we
don't
get here first?
know.
Did we even know there was a problem?
Nope.
And then how did we solve it?
Nobody knows.
I don't
Nobody
know.
knows.
You're kind of sus, man. You're kind of sus.
Guys, I love it.
Good morning, Sam. I consider every day to be the most important day in my life until the next most important day of my life.
Yep.
Good evening, uh, Sister Eva, and good evening, Donnie, rather. Washing your leg wraps. I remember doing that. I actually need to get new ace bandages to wrap my legs.
Oh,
Um, I don't use leg wraps anymore because, my ace bandages fell apart and I never replaced them. And technically, the therapist said I should just simply have to have, a certain strength of sock and, of the what do they call those things? What type of socks do they call those?
I don't know.
They're a compression sock, and if I have that type of a sock, it's supposed to help with my leg, but most of the time, if I use that strong of a compression sock that they want, why it just simply leaves a ring around my leg when my leg gets, or a mesh pattern around my leg when my leg gets too large.
I
Because, like Donnie, I have edema in my legs.
my weight sometimes my socks irritate me to no end, and I got like indents above my thigh. I don't know why. Like
Why do you have thigh high socks?
not my thigh, but not my ankle, but I guess leg, lower leg, femur. No, that's not.
Are you talking about your knee or your shin? Your
Oh,
calf?
shin. There it is.
Or your calf?
Yeah, but I often it often like irritates my legs so much that it burns. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but like don't know
Mine,
what.
mine come from actually sitting around gaming so much and being on the point of uh, being pre-diabetic is where my edema comes from. Um, I didn't used to have edema.
Is that what that's called?
Edema is swelling in your lower extremities,
Oh well, I don't think it's swelling, but
and it's typically due to poor circulation.
mm.
Now, it is seen primarily in people with low blood pressure, with Well, it's seen in people with diabetes as well as people with, well, any person with um, circulation issues, whether it be high blood pressure or low blood pressure. So, um,
Why? I can never get my lighting right at night. I'm okay at day, but I just always have terrible lighting at night because that
that's because during the daytime, CJ, you have ambient light which filters through your window.
I guess I need another lamp over here.
We've already discussed this before. One of the things that you can do is get daylight type light bulbs instead of getting your soft glow. Get daylight. Your light bulbs come, if you read your packages, they will actually have on them what type of lighting they have. There's a soft, there's yellow, there's daylight.
Hmm.
So, consider that.
Yeah.
There's also infrared and black light.
Couple days ago, I used the bridge card for the first time. I felt I felt good after shopping. It's like I didn't spend any money.
I had to blow my trumpet.
Oh, when the trumpet of believer sounds in time to leave no more.
Yeah, there is floodlight too, and incandescent, and yeah.
I get an LED light.
Well, LED just refers to, well, I mean, you have fluorescent and LED and um, halogen. Not halogen. It is halogen. No, there's incandescent, fluorescent, and LED, and halogen. No, I don't remember that pen. But I do remember that there was like a special ink that,
Oh,
yeah, it would only work in black light.
I'm blinded myself.
Don't do that.
Ow. That hurt. Well, we should probably announce this. Uh, on Sunday, March something or other,
Second.
second, Sunday, March 2nd, we're going to be starting our gospel edification meeting of Abraham, and that will go all the way to Thursday. That'll be nightly except Tuesday.
Yep.
So you
We'll
got
be skipping Tuesday night.
Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
It's our next gospel edification meeting, so it'll be happening on the evening edification, and It's a 4-night meeting.
Hopefully we can hopefully we can start at 9 p.m. each night. Oh, I don't I can't say much. I don't know if you've noticed my Let's Reads lately.
Some of it, I think, has to do with the length of the reading.
Yeah.
Donnie says tomorrow they're not going to be here because they're going to be in Jefferson. Oh, you're going to be up visiting sis, huh? Sam got his breakfast. And quite often that's an accomplishment. I
Oh,
understand.
I'm so proud of myself today. I didn't even drink a cup of coffee. I needed it though.
I was hearing about that, 7 ounces of coffee.
I'm telling you, Levi. 6 ounces and I'm like it doesn't make any sense. I'm like bouncing off the walls. It's like a small
Well, they didn't even tell me about Sam's birthday.
oh shit. Shame on you. You should have had coffee.
Coffee is mandatory.
Well, now y'all can come over now that I got a coffee maker. I love my Keurig. One cup at a time.
That's like painful.
Yeah,
But then again, you're only one person and you don't drink a whole lot.
yeah. I
It's like having a pot of coffee, a 10-pot coffee or 12-pot coffee.
I
12-cup pot of coffee on the burner all day would be, you'd probably take like 30 days just to drink that.
yeah.
Donnie hasn't had any coffee in several years. You poor man.
Oh.
Now, I don't drink a whole lot of coffee. I will drink coffee once in a while. I'm more of a tea person. So I don't drink sweet tea. I absolutely refuse to drink that diabetes in a cup. Um, mm, I actually, the older I've gotten, the less I can stand sweet stuff. Um, the more sweet it is, the less I like it. And it's gotten to the point I don't chew gum because I there's there's one type of gum. It's actually a natural gum that I found on Amazon that I'll eat, I'll chew, but I don't care for chewing gum. And gum used to be one of the biggest things that I went for in as a kid. Uh, ice cream is one thing I still I'll eat
Yes.
ice cream,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Was that was probably in 2012.
seriously, I just said I don't drink much. No, I very rarely drink coffee, and I've already had one cup today, which is
Um was I think it was the year before when you got ice cream. Got a tub of ice cream while I was there. That was good. We had ice
well.
cream.
Hopefully the next time you're here, we're gonna have the cow. The cow will be fresh, so we'll actually have real milk, and we can make real ice cream.
Oh yeah.
O'Shea likes his Keurig. It was bought at a garage sale, and he's on $1. Does both the carafe and the single cups.
Well,
Sam does understand the bouncing off the wall. He has 3 pots a day.
what? Th- three whole. What?
I worked with a guy, we called him Father John. Uh, and he smoked an entire carton of cigarettes. Now, I'm not talking 1 pack. I'm talking an entire carton of cigarettes in one shift, 1 8-hour shift.
What? Like you're talking?
A
What's the
carton.
difference between a carton and a pack?
A carton is made up of approximately 10 packs.
What?
Yeah. It's either 10 or it's 12. I can't remember now. Of cigarettes. Now, he also drank about 3 to 5 pots of coffee. I mean, he literally had his thermos. He would go, he'd bring out his thermos of coffee. He'd have a cup that he brought from the break room, and he would drink, roll a bar through the machine, fill his cup, roll another bar through. About every bar he was drinking, he'd have another cup of coffee. When the thermos got empty, he'd go back to the break room and fill it again with coffee. Pot was empty, he'd refill the pot.
That would be a lot of money.
Well, company paid for the coffee. And yes, O'Shea is right. I normally drink coffee when he or O'Shea brings me some. I mean, he or Ezra brings me some. And Reba says it's 200 cigarettes in a carton.
Now I was talking to Nick. How much? How do I need to be worried about getting addicted to coffee if I drink 6 ounces a day?
I doubt it. If you were drinking 6 pots of coffee, we'd be worried. Reba's mother-in-law smoked 4 to 5 packs a day. My father-in-law used to. I don't know. I think he used to. He used to down about probably 3, maybe 4 a day. But then after, what was it? I think it was after Amy and I got married. We were having a conversation one day, and now remember, my father-in-law was a Christian, and we were talking, and we kind of studied it out, or talked about how smoking's bad for your health, and it's when you ingest that nicotine, and your body comes to be addicted to it, it is a it is exactly like alcohol. It is exactly like doing drugs. And if you are needing and craving that, how is that different than having an idol? Second point, if you're inhaling that nicotine, what are you doing to your lungs?
Yeah.
That nicotine and that smoke is toxic to your health. And when you look at the word be sober, um, where is it? Or in the works of the flesh, if Tech would bring us up to the Bible real quick. Let's look at this. Ephesians chapter 5.
Sorry. Hold on.
And verse 20.
Hold on. Sorry. Oh, hey, that's perfect. 20.
Verse 20. Or excuse me, Galatians 5:20. My bad. I was reading Ephesians for some reason, but it's Galatians. Galatians 5:20. Idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I've also told you in times past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of God. You say, well, this doesn't say anything about smoking. Well, take us over to the KJV for 21 there, Alicia. First off, idolatry is condemned. So anything that we desire more than doing what God wants us to do is an idol. It's an idol. Nope, CJ never smoked. However, he has. I mean, and that's a good thing.
I'm probably secondhand smoke for handful of years.
So, Alicia, KJV plus on verse 21, please.
But that's a different story.
Let's go to the word drunkenness. There's G317.
Hey.
Yeah, I can't see that because the logo's right in front of my. Yep, right there. Let's look at this.
Intoxicant.
DJ, can you read that for me?
An intoxicant that is in by implication, intoxication, drunkenness.
Let's break that word intoxicant down. We have basically three parts to it: in, toxic, and. Something that is intoxic or something that is toxic, if we want to take it down to its very brute word.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about intoxicant, we generally think of drunken.
Hey,
But hey, Carol, good to see you. CJ, pull up on, since you're at your computer, pull up on dictionary.com or a reputable dictionary site. What is the definition of toxic? Reba remembers that as a child, men would rush out during between services, between Bible study and worship, for a smoke break. Sam
wow.
says, I used to smoke a pack a day, then I went down to 10, and then lower and lower. And I didn't like the fact my mind would go to that habit of all things. This had to be a struggle and replacement in God's word. I wanted to be 100% towards God. Donnie says, I heard something on my radio today that I've never heard. When you say something to somebody, it can be both a positive and negative depending upon what is said and when it's said. Also, in the way that it is heard and received. Uh, People can receive something that is positive in nature. They can receive it in a negative way.
Definition 2 of toxic: acting as or having the effect of a poison.
What's definition 1?
Pertaining to affected with or caused by toxin, none, or poison.
So it's caused by or affected by a toxin or a poison. And then the second one was what?
Uh, Acting as or having the effect of a poison, such
Now
as
you just typed in the word toxic, not intoxic.
yeah, toxic. Definition 1 has the phrase a toxic condition. Definition 2 is a toxic drug. So I think really what we want to stress is definition 2, the acting or acting.
Listen, bring me my dictionary. That's the one without the cover.
I'm gonna get a drink, even just
It doesn't really define the noun. That's more of an adjective. I want the noun. Carol says, I quit up in New Hampshire when I was living by myself. I had quit smoking with almost a full carton of cigs on top of my fridge. The Lord was with me throughout. And we were studying this topic, my father-in-law and I together. And, I made that point about this idea. Go ahead, CJ, if you need to get back, if you're getting some, whatever. Um, I didn't use this idea here of this verse because to me at that time it was unknown that this meant toxic. But the idea that we are, well, maybe I did actually. It runs in my mind and as I thinking back on it. I know that I talked about it, but I stressed more the idea of keeping our bodies pure and clean from a First Corinthians chapter 6 aspect, uh, which I don't use that particular verse anymore, but um, it's only used as an adjective. Ah, toxicant is the noun. No, it's an adjective still. It's poisonous. Toxic is poisonous, as in toxic gas. It's French, interestingly enough. And toxicant is poisonous, a pest control which kills by poisoning. Um, and so when we stop and we think about toxic, and the Bible saying here in, where Paul says here that the work of the flesh is, you know, one of the works of the flesh is intoxicants or intoxication. If we are putting poison in our body, it doesn't matter whether we're dealing with the poisonous effect of alcohol, or we're talking about the poison effect of drugs, or we're talking about the poison effect of cigarettes. It's all poison, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are we doing? We're destroying our body. And we're destroying that which was made in the image of God.
At the very least, we're being a poor steward of what God has given us.
And so when I was talking with him about that, and I suggested that he, as a Christian, should give up smoking, you know, he quit cold turkey. That was the very last day he smoked. And he did not touch cigarettes again for the rest of his life. Now, that was approximately, I think that was 12 to 15 years. It
Wow.
was 12, at least 12 years. Because Amy and I were married in 2000, and he gave up smoking that first year, and he passed away. We found out later, uh, you know, we had we were living in Iowa, and he was living in Indiana by the time he passed away, and there was no contact, not by either of our choice, just because situation happened, which I'm not going to go into out of respect for him, um, and for Amy. It wasn't our choice, and it wasn't his choice, but there was no contact had in the last couple of years. So we didn't know he was sick. He was dying of cancer,
Mm.
from a life that had been lived very large, and one that had been lived a lifelong of smoking uh, uh, and for quite a while, alcoholism too. But that was long before the alcoholism had been given up, um, before I knew him. So,
Uh, I think you're gonna eventually talk about both of those subjects in your Monday class.
eventually, yes. So, you know, idolatry is something that we have to deal with. And when we think of idolatry, we think of, you know, we a lot of times think of monetary, money. We think of possessions, and we think of statues, gods, for example. But anything that we desire and that comes between us and God is an idol.
Yep.
So if our coffee becomes more important than God, don't bother me before I had my first cup of coffee. I can't pray, I can't function, I can't do anything before I've had coffee. Well, what does that mean? My coffee is more important than my God, my duty to my God.
Yeah.
That means coffee's become an idol, and I need to do something about it. Um,
So, so if it doesn't get to the point where I need it before anything else, I'm good.
and right, the same thing can be talked about when we talk about gluttony. Gluttony is food idolatry. We don't talk about that quite a bit. We don't talk about gluttony often. But I want to stop, and I want to say there are people out there that have the misconception that if you go to um, a buffet, you're a glutton. If you are overweight, you're a glutton. And if you like if you get together and you talk about food recipes, and that's about your main thing, you're a glutton. No, stop it. Just because my hobby may be my chili does not mean that I'm a glutton. Just because I take my kids to a buffet so that they will be satiated, so their hunger is abated, and I don't have to pay an arm and a leg, and we do it once a year as a treat, does not a glutton make. And to say that, for example, is a miscarriage of judgment. And the people who do this are sinning. Just because a person is overweight does not mean that they pig out every chance they get. All right. There are multiple health issues surrounding obesity. As one who does not and has never really pigged out, now I won't say that I didn't have it. At sometimes, we didn't have some competitions in my family where, like, hey, who wants to see who can eat the most pancakes? This was not a regular occurrence.
And
By the way, my record was 5.
I think gluttony has to have the intent behind it, like I just want to eat right and just like lose all self control.
Well, it's like what I said. Gluttony is food idolatry. Okay,
Like all I
it's
care about.
eating to excess. It's where your every thought is consumed with eating. Now, one might say people are gluttons for punishment. What does that mean? They love punishment for the sake of punishment, like a glutton loves food for the sake of food. There is some um, hormonal response that is triggered by the act of eating itself that they just simply do not want to stop. They could stop. They don't need to eat that often, that much, but they choose not to stop. Uh, our bodies play survival mode. That's one of the conditions. Um, One of the conditions, Sam kind of alludes to it there when the survival mode. Our bodies are in fight or flight. When, for example, in my case, I have for 20 years, 25 years actually now, dealt with pain 24/7. I don't often let people in on this. Um, I have no physical appearing injury. Something happened that there's a joint in my lower back that does not track right. Both of my Achilles heels are playing tug of war on my heels
Fun.
as they pull up into my calves, trying to shorten. This makes walking difficult. It makes the slightest bumping of my heel upon anything extremely painful. The back problem means that I can't go long distances without uh, having needing breaks. I can't stand for long distances of time. And as I've gotten older, that standing amount has decreased. That's why now you see me sitting when I'm preaching or when I'm singing, leading songs. Often you'll see me sitting because I can't stand for anywhere near 30 minutes. I walk with a permanent limp, and my back exasperates that limp, which exasperates the back. That means it affects my limp affects my back, which affects my limp, which affects my back, which affects my limp, which affects you get the picture. It's a
Yeah.
vicious cycle. 25 years. On top of that, my shoulders have bursitis in them. Have had for now about 20 years. This is just a small picture of the pain that I'm in 24/7. So that when my doctor told me after my knee surgery on my left knee to repair a broken or not broken but torn cartilage, he looked at me and says, yeah, "I'm releasing you from care." This was 6 months after the surgery. Um, you're not progressing any further. You're still in pain. Well, you're just going to have to develop a new threshold of pain. And I felt like telling him, "Would you like to see what my threshold of pain is, doctor?" But of course, that would be construed as an assault on healthcare professionals, and that's, of course, illegal. And all I would be doing would be squeezing his knee to show him exactly what level of my pain is. Now, I don't say this to engender sympathy. What do this is to show that health issues are not always visible, but my body, as a result of the pain, is in constant fight or flight syndrome or response, which means it is flooding my body with uh, cortisol, the natural pain reliever. That means I can't take cortisone. I can't do cortisone shots. Guess why?
Have too much.
It don't work. Cortisone is the unnatural cortisol.
Uh,
My body doesn't react to it. So there's no way to bring me out of that natural fight or flight response. As a result, I've sat around. My weight has blossomed, not because I eat, but because I don't get enough exercise. I can't exercise, and people don't understand that. Now, okay, O'Shea says, in my ponderings, I don't think last night is about the amount of food. Gluttony is about the amount of food consumed, but the attitude toward it, like you're saying, it comes before God. That is gluttony. But for example, we have records of feasts being kept for 7 days in a row. Sometimes, some kinds of them are even longer. And you're right, we do.
that's right.
Does that mean that the Israelites were gluttons? No. And
No,
God never encouraged gluttony.
I love my food. Don't get me wrong, you know I love food. But my love for food is not greater than my love for God. Like, eh, uh, if anything, I need to be eating more. I keep keep working and working and working, and I'm like, I'm hungry, and then I just ignore it, and then I eat when I'm absolutely hungry and can't think straight. I need to stop doing that.
Um,
That's what I do.
so gluttony is defined as excessive eating and drinking. A glutton is someone who eats excessively. It is also someone with a remarkable willingness to endure or perform something of a specified nature. For example, a glutton for work or a glutton for punishment, as we were talking about. Um,
CJ is a beanpole, tiny, skinny. I know I picked him up and carried him to train. He weighs too little. See,
Sam says it's also if you eat 3 meals a day, went down to 2 meals a day, your body's trying to hang on to body store some fat. So it may, yeah, that is also part of the fight or flight response. Yes. So um, gluttony deals with the attitude behind the excessive eating. Um, it's basically food idolatry, and it deals not just with food idolatry, but it deals with covetousness. And what does the Bible say covetousness is? Come
see.
on, CJ.
Oh, covetousness is idolatry.
Covetousness, which is idolatry. Where's that passage at?
What is that? Are you asking a rhetorical question, or are you asking me?
I'm asking actually because I don't remember where it's at.
Well, covetousness was. Is that? I feel like it's Colossians 3. We'll see. Preaching through Colossians this year, and I don't know this. Yeah, Colossians 3:5.
All right, Alicia, let's go.
More,
Mortify, therefore, your members which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence, that is desire, evil desire, and covetousness, which is idolatry.
I
So
love,
it basically covers everything.
I love,
You've got section. Go ahead, finish it. Go ahead.
sorry. I love the KTV just for the pure fact I get to say concupiscence.
And lasciviousness and licentiousness. Uh, Fornication, that's sexual impurity. Uncleanness, well, that's everything else. That's things like drunkenness, drug use, intoxication, that type of stuff. Inordinate affection, that's wrong affection.
No.
Evil desires. So, okay, if it's not sexual immorality, if it's not um, bodily uncleanness, or I should say, if it's not sexual uncleanness, if it's not bodily uncleanness, if it's not, a, you know, unclean affections, then there we have evil desires, and then we have covetousness, which is idolatry. That covers everything.
No.
For which things sake the wrath of God comes upon whatever the verse 6 says.
Uh,
Cometh on the children of disobedience. Okay, now we as Christians got to leave all that stuff behind us.
yep.
We got to get rid of all that stuff. And I was so thankful that my father-in-law gave it up. Um, and we need to make sure that we don't pass wrongful judgment upon other people who are struggling with these other, with other issues, and say, okay, well, you're dealing with this case, for example, you're a glutton because you're overweight, you're obese, or you're going to a buffet, you're a glutton. Um, you know, what are we about?
Yeah. I would say no. I don't worship food. I worship God. Thank you very much.
And you know, those who would rather spend their Sundays uh, or all of their spare time on the ponds, lakes, or you know, and we can insert any sort of thing there in front of the TV watching the races, or even at the races, be it horse races or car races, or we could look at those who would rather spend their time watching sports, um, and doing it instead of being at services. Well, that's kind of a glutton for covetousness, for idolatry.
Would you say so? There's been times when I've been at hibachi and I'm not full. I'm stuffed. Is that
Yeah.
wrong to be stuffed? To stuff yourself?
Well, we should learn that to overfill ourselves is wrong, because what are we doing? We are bordering on gluttony. What is gluttony? While it is food idolatry, the act of gluttony is eating excessively.
Right.
What God wants us to do is to eat till we're full and no more. Don't go overstuffing yourself. Eat till you're full and no more. Um, he gave you a stomach for a reason. He gave you a body with signals, and uh, when your body says you're full, don't ignore it any more than you ignore than when your body says you need to go to the bathroom. Do you ignore that, or do you head to the bathroom?
Well, I
Well,
try.
you already know that if you ignore that that cue, you're going to have a disastrous response,
Yeah.
right? Well, your body is a system. It is the most complex, beautiful system of systems. Every organ working in harmony with every other organ. Each one a little mini system of itself. And when one goes out of whack, it affects another one somewhere, somehow.
Yeah.
So if your I do not know why my phone suddenly started darkening again. Stupid thing. Um, if your body is telling you you're full and you ignore that, there are going to and you continue to stuff yourself, there are going to be repercussions. Now, it may not be today. It may be further on down the road, but it's similar to you getting a warning of a virus or a potential virus on your computer and you ignoring it. You may not see the immediate effect of that virus, but I guarantee you that down the road, when your computer suddenly shuts off and all is displayed is a laughing face saying, "Ha ha, we got you."
Yeah.
And then you're calling Rob or you're calling Levi and saying, "What are we gonna do? I can't get my computer going." We're like, "Okay, well, what happened?" "About 2 weeks back when I got this message."
Hey,
No, you didn't tell me about that.
uh, I normally just as soon as it pops up, call you, be like, hands off my computer.
But you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing with your body. God designed it as a beautiful system that works together on within itself. Do I understand all of its working? Oh no, not at all. But I do understand that each system works together with other systems
Yeah.
as part of a greater whole. Now it doesn't. Now each system is not intricately connected with every system, but it works with other systems that are connected with other systems, and they all work together like one beautiful, well-designed machine. Now, some of them are not quite so. Well, some of them come out a little flubbed.
So you're saying don't be a Joey Chestnut. Uh, do you
Sorry
think
about the trumpet there.
do you think you can do like a food competition and not be a glutton, not idolize food?
Yes. What's the intent? Is the intent to eat for the sake of eating, or is the intent doing something for a good cause, or doing something just for a competition? I mean, like I said, there was competition in my family about who could eat the most pancakes occasionally
Right.
when I was growing up. My record was five. Um, and we're not talking about small pancakes either. Oh no, we're not talking small pancakes. But it was, it was a part of, a childish competition. There was nothing sinister about it, and there was nothing excessive about it. Um, it was healthy, and we were outside and running around and exercising those five pancakes off the rest of the day. We worked our butts off.
Yeah.
Uh, but
I
um, I mean, and so there is it is very possible to do a competition and not be a glutton. Uh, but you need to make sure you pay attention to your body.
can pay attention to my
And
motive.
that brings up one final spiritual point. We need to pay attention to the body.
Yep.
Every part of the body is designed by God to work together in unity. And we need to be watching that the system that works with us is not breaking down. that we're not breaking down.
Yeah.
Do not ignore the warning signs, because there are warning signs. If a brother is going through a stressful time, there are warning signs. If a sister is beginning to believe in a false doctrine, there are warning signs. If an elder is losing his ability to shepherd, there are warning signs. And you, as a faithful member, as a responsible member, need to be paying attention to the body, to
Yeah.
the systems that you are connected to. God, Paul, inspired by God, draws the analogy of the body and how it is fitly joined together, and is to and each part is as equally important as the other. Now, every part has a different responsibility, but each are united and each are equal in value to God. We all need to be watching for each other, because I can assure you that there is no one in this world who is going to be watching out for us. Let me say that again. You and I, as Christians, as Christian brothers and sisters, need to be watching out for each other. We need to have each other's backs, because I assure you that there is no one in this world who is looking out for your back.
Yeah.
Satan is seeking to devour you. The world is seeking to tear you down. But your brothers and sisters in Christ should be watching your back.
Amen. Build you up.
So make sure that you pay attention to the system.
Yeah.
Pay attention to your body. Do not bring toxic into your body. Do not bring toxic into the body. And with that, we hope and pray that CJ will begin the countdown.
What if I don't want to? The- Thank you all for being here. Remember, here at CEM, we want to do three things. We want to glorify God, edify you, His saints, and we want to answer any spiritual questions you may have. And tonight, I guess we answered my spiritual questions. Thank you all. It's uh great to be taking this class through the Bible together. We may be up here, but we're studying right along with you. Thank you all.
Hopefully and prayerfully, we have edified you, drawn you closer to God, as well as to your brothers in your local congregation, in your local area. That way, whether we wake tomorrow to serve God here on this earth, or we wake tomorrow to serve Him up there where we all long to be, we will wake tomorrow. And you know where we'll have the pleasure, the privilege, and the honor of being. For we'll see you then. God bless in your walk with Him, and I love you all. Good night.